Welcome to the Grassland Studios and today's Zaleski Sports Show. Today we'll talk about NCAA men's basketball, high school football, and other high school sports going on around the area right now. Plus, give you a short preview on the Milwaukee Brewers. All that comes up right after this.
Today's show is sponsored by Grassland Dairy. Find exciting and rewarding careers at grassland.com. Here's your host and sports expert, Jason Zaleski.
So let's talk about NCAA brackets. Bad news for a lot of people, right? Mine might be better than yours. If you've got one that's better, I'd like to see it. So put it down in the comments or send an email off to the show. And let's see, especially if you've got all four Final Four teams, that's something we want to see, and we will put that on Friday's show. So send that in right now, because if you got all four Final Four teams left, we'd like to see that, because these brackets are messed up right now. As for mine, I've got one team left in the Final Four, and that's the Gonzaga Bulldogs. But advantage me, because I've still got this year's champion, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So mark that down. Those of you watching right now will show my bracket on the screen as I'm talking about this. But yeah, Gonzaga, Texas, Ohio State, Illinois, had them all in my Final Four. And it's just the Bulldogs that are left. But like I said, the Bulldogs will be undefeated. First time since Bobby Knight's Indiana Hoosiers will finish the season undefeated. That's where I stand right now. That's why I picked them. And that's what I think is going to happen. So I still feel good about my bracket, but I don't know where I'm going to make up a lot of ground for those people that are in front of me, and I've only got one team left. Even if I think they're the champs, I'm not sure if there's enough ground in my bracket that I can make that up and try to overcome what might be going on. The Badgers in this year's tournament. I happen to be at both UW-Wisconsin. I happen to be at both Wisconsin Badger games on Friday in West Lafayette, over at Mackey Arena, and saw the Badgers play what I thought was their best game of the season. And they dominated North Carolina from start to finish. They out-rebounded them offensively and defensively. They outshot them. They frustrated them. And what I said to a friend of the show and my friend and yours, Dan Ross, who was accompanying me, or I was accompanying him, either way, during these games, is North Carolina playground style. Let's just get out, throw the ball around, make something happen. And Wisconsin, very structured style. And oftentimes in the course of a whole season, structure will almost always beat playground. But sometimes in a tournament style, playground will beat structure, because you can get hot and you can outrun them, you can outshoot them, things happen. Sometimes that can happen, but that didn't happen on Friday night. Structure beat playground, and Badgers beat heels on Friday night. That was 85-62 final score, and the game was really never close. And then Wisconsin met its end over at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Butler on the campus of Butler University on Sunday. They were taken down by the Baylor Bears 76-63 with about 10 minutes left in the first half. I turned to Dan and he turned to me, and we almost said simultaneously, it's done. And it really was. The Baylor Bears are going to be tough out. The 1 seed, and they go up against Villanova on Saturday. The Baylor Bears, Badger fans, and sometimes after your team loses, you'll adopt a team. That's maybe one you might think about. I know it's tough to cheer for a team that just beat yours, but Baylor can shoot it inside, they can shoot it outside. They're tall all the way around, all 5 spots. They do all kinds of things. They got a guy running around with a mullet, and everything for that guy works. And the Baylor Bears, really solid basketball team. Big Ten, not so good in the tournament this year, right? Just one team left from the Big Ten. That's Michigan. And in my bracket, and again, we'll show you that on the screen right now, I had Michigan going out relatively early. I thought Michigan, of the Big Ten teams that were in the tournament, were probably one of those that were going to be outed first. Like if you were going to say, well, if these Big Ten teams make a run, Michigan probably won't. They'd probably be the first one to get booted. Opening weekend, and there's the Michigan Wolverines still sitting there. Interestingly enough, Oral Roberts beat Ohio State, one of the Big Ten teams that were ousted right away. Oral Roberts, a 15 in the opening round, takes out Ohio State. And so what that means to this point is Oral Roberts has more wins against Ohio State than Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh, which is 0. So, and then Oral Roberts in the Sweet 16, so they're on a run. The Golden Eagles of Oral Roberts on a run. And on a run again this year, Sister Jean and the Loyola Marymount Ramblers. Sister Jean back in the Sweet 16 again this year. They took out Illinois. And Loyola is going to be a team to contend with. Again, I sat there in Bankers Life Fieldhouse on Sunday morning and watched Illinois, Loyola. Loyola, just a very, very impressive team. They got a center. He looks like he's about, 30, 31 years old. But that guy can play. He outmuscled Kofi all day on Sunday. And Loyola is still strong in this tournament. And they were done a favor as Oregon State, the 12 seed, beat Tennessee. So now 8 seed Loyola plays 12 seed Oregon on Saturday. And Loyola then a game from the Final 8. And then, after that, it's going to be Syracuse or Houston. Loyola may find themselves again in the Final Four, folks, because of the teams that have upset their way through. They'll end up playing, somebody's going to play Loyola, and they're probably going to be in the Final Four. So that's what I see right now. Again, that's my bracket. If you've got a better one, show it to me, especially if you've got all Final Four teams left. We'd really like to see that. So put a message down below or send your bracket in, and we'll talk about that. All right, moving on to high school sports. So let's frame this up first, so everybody knows what's going on. There were, during the WIA Board of Control meeting last July, the Board of Control said if there are any teams in the that you don't quite feel that maybe playing fall sports right now is what you want to be in the business in, we will give you a 6 or 7 week season in the spring to play your fall sports. So that's football, boys soccer, girls tennis, girls swimming, those kind of things, but mainly football, right? So you had some teams, some schools that said, yeah, we're not really ready yet to play fall sports for any number of reasons. A lot of it political pressure, and so we're going to wait until this Alt-Spring, as it eventually got termed, season to play our fall sports. So Alt-Spring is happening right now. We've already had 3 or 4 SPASH swim meets, a bunch of volleyball games. First football game is coming up on Friday of this Alt-Spring season, and Zaleski Sports has it for you live Friday at 7 o'clock with Mike Wendlandt on the call. It is the SPASH Panthers at the Ncaa Rockets. Now they're playing at St. Mary Catholic High School in Neenah. No worries for you. You're going to watch it live, so it can be played on the moon, and you still get to watch it live because we go there for you. But turf field over at St. Mary, and early conditions like this, things pretty swampy out there. So Neenah's going to save their field for a little bit later in the season to play their first home game at home. So they're Neenah's first home game, neutral field, St. Mary Catholic, Friday, 7 p.m. against SPASH. Again, Mike Wendlandt on the call. I think we're going to have about 50 people in the broadcast team over there, and we're going to give you a spectacular view of that game, multiple camera angles, the whole works. It's going to be a great thing. SPASH and Neenah met up on the volleyball court last night, and we will show you those highlights right now.
And Joyce somehow stays on side as Oldenburg threw a block to McLaughlin, and Drake just passes it back to Kraus. Nice long rally. Popped in, Buxic, diving play made, and the point by Neenah. 14-11. Line drive serve to Lilly. Sending over to Wall through the antenna and out, and that will wrap up set number 1. It goes to Neenah. We're going to either have extra points or this set will be over on this play. Lilly, back line. Kept alive and popped over, and Mathai ties it up. 24-24. Back line. Ace, point, game, SPASH. They take it 27-25. And we're tied up 1 set apiece. Sets it up. Oldenburg back across. Blocked at the net, Mathai. Mara Mathai with one of her best matches of the season so far. Back within 8. Game, set, match. Neenah Rockets. And Kirsten Kraus takes it 25-16. 2 sets to 1. Neenah gets the win. And that will wrap up the action here from SPASH.
Yeah, we only had 1 practice to adjust to 7 players being quarantined, so we did a great job putting people in new positions, people playing all the way around, not used to that. And they also did a great job just fighting during 6 sets when there's no subs to really go in. So phenomenal job on everyone's part. I was really impressed by SPASH. They got some energy. I wish they were in our conference every year because they'd bring some good energy every single year. Yeah, we have a lot of coaches looking for her to graduate because they want her to be off our side of the net, but we love her, and she's definitely one that's a great setter because she looks for every part of the game. Offensive, she looks at, defensive, everything. She knows when to set up her players, when to take the ball herself. Just does a great job, and she'll do a great job next year in college at Kent State as well.
Honestly, I was a hitter my first couple of years of high school and like when I was younger. So it really taught me like both sides of the game. Like as a hitter, what do I want from a setter? So when I set, I think about what that hitter wants from me, and I do everything I can to give him the best ball. I'm so glad we're able to play. I was kind of bummed we weren't playing in fall, but I was glad that they gave us a chance to play in spring. It is shortened, but that means that we just have to win right away and keep winning. It's a shorter time to get better, but by the postseason, we'll be all fresh, and it won't be as long of a season, so there's going to be less like burnout and all that. So I think it's a good season to have in postseason.
Thank you for watching the Zaleski Sports Highlight House, sponsored by Fleet Farm. Schedule an appointment at the Fleet Farm Auto Service Center today. Their professionals handle tire installation, rotation, oil changes, filter and battery replacements, and more. Schedule an appointment online today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955. You are watching the Zaleski Sports Highlight House.
I'm Kirsten Kraus. I'm from Neenah, and I'm in the house.
This is my son, and I'm doing everything I can to raise him to be a good man, to teach him the value of working hard and doing things the right way. We come to Fleet Farm, just as I did with my dad, to explore, to learn, to laugh. Fleet Farm is more than just a store. It's an adventure. It's a memory. It's my store. It's our store. Fleet Farm, serving generations since 1955.
Grassland Dairy Products is your match for an exciting new career today. Go to grassland.com to see the opportunities waiting for you. Browse through careers like CDL truck driver, shipping and receiving, line tech, quality assurance, forklift, maintenance tech, inventory associates, and more. Great compensation, weekly pay, and zero premium company paid health, dental, and life. Apply now at grassland.com or in person at Grassland Dairy Products, Fairground Avenue, just south of Greenwood.
Today's show is sponsored by Grassland Dairy. Find exciting and rewarding careers at grassland.com. Here's your host and sports expert, Jason Zaleski.
Marshall Bandits football team had their inaugural season last year, had a pretty good effort for not even assembling a football team before, and Zaleski Sports was there for you all the way last year. We showed you every Marshfield Bandits football game last year. We're going to do it again this year. But before we get there, on Saturday, it's a special presentation of 3-on-3 basketball tournament to help with the team, do a little fundraising. We're going to have some fun. We'll be out at the basketball court for the Marshall Bandits 3-on-3 basketball tournament. The action starts at 1. Now, here it is, guys. It is parental advisory. It is Bob Menery style. So without the F-bombs, but it's going to be everything else. I mean, we're going to be telling players they're trash. You might feel like that's not a thing you want to involve yourself in. And if you don't. Because if you send us an email or some other thing that, hey, this is pretty raunchy, we're just going to put your email in the trash. So we're there to have fun. We're going to have a great time doing it. You should watch. Again, it's live at ZaleskiSports.com, 1 o'clock on Saturday. So that's what's coming up on Saturday. All right, let's talk a little Milwaukee Brewers. Sit back for this one here a little bit. I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now. We're about a week or so away from first game of the season. We'll go real deep on the Brewers starting next week and give you all of my thoughts. But we're going to kind of touch the edges here a little bit, and I'll give you my best Milwaukee Brewers breakdown right now because we're getting close. We're about a week away from first game. 7-10 days, whatever it is. About a week away. I got a bunch of notes written down here because it's. We're in spring training and things are weird in spring training. A lot of people, here's some advice I'll give you in spring training. Hey, watch if you want to, have a nice time watching baseball, but it means nothing. Coaches tell a guy to go out there and throw straight heaters for 3 innings or go out there and throw curveballs for 3 straight innings, or they're telling their guys to come up and place balls in the right field. They're practicing, folks. So whatever stats you see in spring training, it's practice, right? Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice. But Brewers spring training just about ready to finish up. Craig Counsell, still the skipper in Milwaukee. He will now begin his 7th year, which is the longest tenured coach in the National League, guys. Your Milwaukee Brewers have the most experienced coach in the National League. He's got his 7th year under his belt. I thought that was kind of interesting. Lorenzo Cain is back. Cain opted out of the COVID Summer League. Rec League is what I called it for baseball because I thought it was just a meaningless season. So he opted out of the Rec League during the summer. But he's back this year. He's played. He hasn't played. He's been injured. So he hasn't played at all this spring. But Gold Glove winner from 2019, Cain comes back in the lineup. Brewers think good things over Lorenzo Cain. A little bit of intrigue whether Cain will play in center or he might actually start in right field because he is injured. If he does, Jackie Bradley will be in center field. But if Cain's ready to go, and again, he hasn't played yet this spring, but if he's ready to go, he'll be in center, Bradley in right, and those two may interchange a little bit to begin the season. But you got those two and Yelich in the outfield. You got the outfield covered defensively, and you really got the outfield covered at the plate when those three guys come up as well. Colton Wong, Brewers feel real good about Colton Wong on this year's team. I mentioned Yelich. In the Rec League season last year, he batted .205, and that's cause for concern. NL MVP, and he comes back for the Rec League season, and he bats .205. So it's important for Yelly to get off, I think, to a hot start, or at least get off to a start, because he didn't get out of the gate last year, and he warmed up a little, and all that warm-up, all the best he could do was get his batting average above 200. So Brewers need Yelich at least back to really good status, maybe not all-star, but really good status. And then Keston Hiura going to move over to first base. Now that's going to be an adventure. Hiura playing his first year ever at first base. Now he can hit. So you got the stick in the lineup, and you're going to get him on the field somewhere. But folks, it's going to be an adventure at first. He's going to miss balls. He's going to miss short hops. It's going to happen because this is going to be a work in progress all year for the Brewers with Keston Hiura. But when he comes to the plate, you'll take that advantage at the plate, and you'll take the disadvantage at first base with the hopes that Keston gets better at first base as the year goes on, at least becomes good at first base. Brandon Woodruff, opening day starter, that was announced here recently. So Woody's first, he's your opening day starter. Back in 2019, he ran his record to 11-3, a 3.62 ERA. So that's pretty good stuff. So Woody's your opening day starter. I'll go through the other pitchers here that are going to be in the rotation in some order, because behind Woodruff, who is your ace, it's just anybody else in the pitching staff. And so the Brewers and Counsell are going to go back to, it's the 4th inning, it's the 5th inning. We're going to have a new pitcher every inning, because the rest of these guys, as of right now, I don't know that Counsell can trust any of them. So Corbin Burns, Adrian Hauser, Brad Anderson, Josh Lindblom, and Freddie Peralta. You recognize some of those names, but it's going to be a merry-go-round at the pitching mound for the Brewers, especially early in the season, because Counsell with those guys, and I'll tell you, I don't know what they have, and we'll see. And they need Woodruff to be 11-3 or something like that, and 3.62 ERA. Because the rest of that pitching staff is questionable at best. So the Brewers, I think, are going to have to outscore. They're going to have to win games 8-6, 10-9, 13-10, that kind of thing. And I think that's the way it's going to go this year. But for me, that's a pretty exciting baseball season. I'd rather see 10-9 and not 2-1. But for the Brewers, if they score 1 run, they're not going to win the game. If they score 3 runs, they're not going to win the game. If they score 5, and maybe you got to score +5, I think, for the Brewers to win the games this year. And I'm going to give you my prediction on the Brewers, but as we start to wrap up today's show, prior to 2018, the Brewers in their franchise history had only made the playoffs 4 times. They had made the playoffs, and I still got a finger left in my hand to tell you about it, 4 times prior to 2018. Brewers made the playoffs in 18, 19, and 20. So now 3 straight years they've been in the playoffs. So, arrows pointing up. We had a stat on Facebook earlier that the farm system is all the way down. But you'll have that when sometimes when you have success. The Brewers, 4 times before 18, they made the playoffs at the whole franchise history, and they've made the playoffs every year since. And I'll tell you, Brewer fans, your Brewers will be in the playoffs again this year. They will be NL Central champs, and they'll do it with 84 wins. So mark it down. I said it here. Save the video. Put a clip. Whatever you want to do. You can bookmark it on Instagram. But 84 wins. It wins the NL Central. Brewers are back in the playoffs in 2021. All right, guys. So let's wrap it up there. We've got a whole series of stuff coming for you, including this show. We will do this show Monday through Friday. Beginning next week, we will talk to every conference player of the year that we can get our hands on from winter sports. We'll talk to all kinds of folks. We'll talk to Arizona Diamondbacks' Dalton Varsho. We'll talk to all kinds of people. We got a full lineup coming up, and we'll do it all on this show. Plus, we'll break down high school sports, get you caught up on college sports, plus Milwaukee Brewers. By the way, here's our NBA segment. That was it. It's done. We will not talk about the NBA. We'll talk about everything else, though. We're going to have a great time. Guys, thanks for joining in. Thanks for being here in the Grassland Dairy studio. And we will see you next time on Zaleski Sports.